Hello, friends, and welcome back to Stories About Entitled People. Let's start our video with a story where OP, upon learning their sister booked their dream wedding venue, decides to reserve it a month earlier, leading to family drama, but ultimately choosing their own happiness over family pressure. But before we begin, best way to support our channel is to leave comments, like, and subscribe with the turned-on bell so you don't miss the new video every single day. Here we go. I purposefully booked the same wedding venue as my sister, but earlier, so I could get married there first. My sister and I don't get along. I can be honest and admit that she's much prettier than me, but that's something she's never let me forget. Both of my parents are pretty shallow, and they've always given her the best and put her first, i.e., if we both had a school event at the same time, they'd both go to hers. This has left me pretty bitter and distant from my family. My boyfriend of 5 years recently proposed, and I was super over the moon, and straight out of a bad rom-com script, my sister got engaged right afterwards. It didn't really faze me other than serve as a slight nuisance since my parents were more happy and involved with her engagement. My mom's been helping her plan, but couldn't help me because my sister needed more help, and she couldn't devote me the time I deserved. Don't feel bad for me, though, because my mother-in-law is a godsend and super sweet and genuinely treats me with so much love. Anyways, what really pushed me over the edge was when my sister told me that she booked her wedding at my dream venue. I know it sounds so annoying and cheesy, but I really cared about this location. It was sentimental to me. My grandparents got married there, and I've talked about wanting to get married there as far back as high school when I was just daydreaming. I swear, my sister doesn't give a F about my grandparents, but when I brought it up, my parents told me to stop being so petty. In a fit of actual pettiness, I ended up booking the same venue a month before my sister's wedding. I checked with the venue, and there's no way my sister can move the wedding up. They're booked up, and if she changes venues, she'll lose her deposit. My mother recently reached out to me and implored me to talk to my sister. I blocked her after the first call where she tried to ream me out. Apparently, my sister's really distraught, and my mom said the least I could do was try and work something out with my sister, especially over such a huge event. I said no, but my mom said I was AH for not even trying to hear her out and for being so stubborn and petty. I know my mom is biased, but it got me thinking because I've been pretty staunch about ignoring her calls, and some of my cousins have told me that she seems genuinely upset. I'm not sure whether or not I was right or if I'm being a giant a-hole by being so stubborn. Edit. My sister flat out told my cousin that she couldn't care less about the venue and booked it because it was convenient, but suddenly when I want to get married there too, it means the world to her? I think not. My grandparents practically raised me since my parents were always missing out on my life events, so it was Grandma and Grandpa who came to support me. I was always going to get married there one way or another. Edit 2. Hi, I wanted to share an update for this. You've been kind enough to ask. I spent my entire life being bullied by my family, and when I had comments from internet strangers roll in trying to make excuses and defend my sister for trying to make my wedding planning all about her, I realized I would never win in the sense of doing the right thing. I talked it over with my fiance, and he basically said, "You're literally never happy when you talk about your family. Why do you keep putting yourself through that?" So I decided to try talking to them one last time before going NC, just so I wouldn't have any regrets. Most of you could probably guess what happened. My sister said that if I got married at the same venue as her, I'd steal her thunder, and that I was selfish for making my own wedding all about me. I countered with the fact that I've been talking about getting married here for over a decade, so why would she think I wouldn't get married there too? Only for my sister to reply that the venue would be a waste on me because there was no way I could ever plan a wedding as beautiful as hers. Like, WTF? The final straw was when my parents offered to pay for my entire wedding if I moved it. My parents, who couldn't be bothered to show up to my engagement party because my sister planned hers for the next day and they'd need time to help her prep, suddenly wanted to pay tens of thousands of dollars just to make my sister happy. I think that kind of broke me. Long story short, I told them that effective immediately, I was done being their punching bag and that they were no longer welcome at my wedding or in my life. They tried to play the sympathy card on social media, crying about how I divided the family, but my grandparents really came to bat for me. They basically made their own post shading my mom, their daughter, saying that they were so thrilled to see their granddaughter, who they raised, get married at their venue, and that my grandpa would be walking me down the aisle. That pretty much shut up most of my extended family. My cousin also let me know that my sister gave up her deposit in favor of changing the venue, which made me feel like it was proof that it was never about the venue and just about taking something that mattered to me. I wouldn't have cared if we married at the same place, though. My fiance's also happy that I'm happy. Good job, OP. You got engaged first. You'd been talking about getting married there, so she knew you wanted to. Try to call it first. And our second story. Attack of the gas station Karen. This happened to me about a year ago. I had my 7-year-old nephew with me and we stopped to get gas. At the same time, an older couple pulled up to the same pump on the other side of the island. In this state, Virginia, kids have to be in the kiddie seat until they're 8. So I told him, don't get out of your seat. I'll be right back. Went in to pay and come back out to find the woman from the car next to me tapping on the back window of my vehicle. Let me note here that the card reader on the pumps wasn't working, so myself and this woman's husband walked in at the same time to pay. I asked if I could help her, and she proceeds to rant at me about how dare you leave a child alone in a car for 20 minutes. I've had Karen interactions before, but that floored me. I was like, it hasn't even been 5 minutes. We pulled in here at literally the same time. No, he didn't. I've been here much longer. At that point, the husband intervened and asked her if she'd taken her pill. That diverted her into letting loose on him, and I quickly started pumping my gas. Never have I prayed a tank would fill faster. Finally, it's done, and we pull out. Last I hear is the bee screaming at me that she's got my plate and she's calling the police for child abduction. Never heard from the cops. People become neither better nor worse with age, just more themselves. And our next story. Stopped by customers at a different store than my job because of my uniform. In hopes of keeping my privacy, I'll refer to my place of work as Blue Pet, BP, because it's a blue uniformed pet store. I'd like to preface and mention I've been at my job at BP for just over 2 years now, and overall I've been working since I could, and being in Canada at that young allowed age really only left me with retail customer service jobs. I've worked in grocery stores, food, and restaurants. I now have at least 6+ years worth of customer service and retail experience. This plays into my story because never in those years has this ever happened to me. I'm a part-time employee, but at this time I was working 30 to 40 hours a week because of new employees quitting or whatever. Can't really remember now. Besides the point, my job came out with a rule that we must have transparent water bottles so they can clearly identify that we're drinking water. Because you know how unethical it would be for me to be consuming a root beer float when assisting customers with animal care? I needed a transparent water bottle. On my way to work one day, I stopped by a dollar store that's also located in the same strip of stores as my job's. Most Canadians know that any dollar store, no matter the name, Dollar Tree, Dollarama, etc., all have green colors as their theme. They wear regular t-shirts with a striking green apron. At BP, we wear a collared blue uniform shirt with either black or khaki pants. On our shirt, we have our name tag, the logo of BP, and either BP pins from seniority or achievements or approved miscellaneous pins. I went in there with my uniform on to quickly grab a cheap water bottle until I had the time to get a better one elsewhere. I forgot about the rule on the way to work, hence my rush. As I was trying to locate them, I was stopped by an older woman. Her, "Excuse me, young lady." Me, "Yes?" Clearly not professional in tone, trying to be as fast as possible. Her, "No need for the rudeness." Whereas me, "Sorry, ma'am, I don't work here," pointing at my logo on my uniform. Her, "But you have a name tag." "Oh well, I guess I'll have to find another employee who actually wants to help me." I brush past her and find the water bottles, looking for one that didn't have some stupid stuff on it, just a plain one. Was stopped again, this time by a 30 to 40-year-old woman and her child, 12 to 13. I could tell that English was not their first language. Her, "Ma'am, show birthday bag." I frequent this location, so I know. Me, back wall on that side. Gestured to the very far wall as reference. She thanked me, and then they were on their way. I finally grabbed one, was on my way up to pay, and was stopped by the same older woman from before, this time with her husband, who apparently saw me helping the woman and her child. They were scowling at me. Oh well, don't care. Retail customer service really runs down your care for people's upsetness, especially for such ridiculous reasons. I was stopped at least 2 other times other than these 2 incidents within the same visit. I understand it's busy, but if someone's wearing a completely different uniform, did not even have the same style of shirt whatsoever, would that not give you a clue as to them not working there? Especially if I was shopping and had my company's logo on it? It was beyond baffling. People just see the common visual language of a customer-facing employee, lanyard, name tag, apron, uniform-like attire. And our last story. HOA calling cops on me. I have a very rude, small HOA board made up of 3 people for our 16-unit complex. They seem to be on some power trip and have been calling the cops on residents for not following the bylaws. For example, my neighbors had the cops called on her because she was smoking on her deck past 11 p.m., which isn't allowed due to quiet hours. I have one of my cars parked outside of the designated parking area on the side of a public street. It's legal parking, not on condo property, and it's about 4 car lengths from the condo entrance, so it's not blocking anything. The HOA asked me to move it. I believe the reason they asked is simply because they want to exert control. There isn't really any valid reason I can think of, and I've never had a disagreement with them in the 2 years I've lived here. They initially contacted me via email to ask me to move the car, and I responded by asking where they would like me to move it to. They replied saying not to move it across the street. I didn't respond further since they only told me where I can't park, not where I can. They then sent another email stating I had 2 options: move my car into my second reserved parking spot or have a meeting with them to discuss where I can park it. I ignored that as well, since I just need them to email me where they want me to park it on the street, and then I can make my decision from there. This second email came in yesterday. An hour ago, the local police called me, apologized, and said that the board was on the other line asking me to move the car. Initially, the officer thought I was blocking a public road because the board member told them something ambiguous. After a brief back and forth and him putting me on hold for a few minutes, presumably to clarify with the board, he once again apologized and confirmed that I don't have to move my car. However, he suggested that if I wanted to make the board's life easier, I could move it simply because they asked. He said he was just trying to mediate between us. I told him that the board is unreasonable, and while I have no problem moving my car, I no longer want to entertain their request unless I'm actually breaking some law or bylaw. He advised me that I was not breaking any laws or bylaws. So they're using the police to harass me about something that the HOA has no control over in the first place. I hired a lawyer, my good friend, and he helped me draft a cease and desist letter. Hey guys, thank you all for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one.